Hi guys! In today's video, I'm going to be adding too much of everything into slime, and we also have a giveaway at the end of this video, so keep watching and I hope that you enjoy the video. First up, we're going to do the slime that's in the thumbnail, and this is adding too many Apple items to slime. A lot of these have been used in previous videos apart from the iPad. Also, because I always get questions about this, no, the iPad, iPhone, and also the MacBook things do not work. The MacBook thing is a mirror, and then the rest of them are just like the dummy phones, I think probably used in phone displays, but they never turned on. They're not even electrical. So I decided that I was going to add them all into slime, then pour the slime on top of it and poke it with the items to see if I could kind of make different ASMR sounds. And I love how the slime looks on top of all of these products. The next experiment is definitely one of my favourites that I've tried in this series, and this is adding too much invisible ink. If you aren't familiar with invisible ink, it looks like a normal clear liquid until you shine a blue light on it, and then it just shines fluorescent green. So my first thought when I saw this was definitely to add clear glue, and I wanted to stir it really slowly so I didn't get loads of air bubbles in it, and then I added my activator and I made this super strong. It had so much borax in it, and it just made sure that when I was stirring it, it would form a slime so quickly and I wouldn't have to knead it and get all the bubbles in, so the UV light would shine through really strongly and show the invisible ink. It worked, but I don't think I'd recommend it at home purely because you can only see the effect when the light's on it. So even though it looks super cool, it would be much more worthwhile to get a glow-in-the-dark pigment that you can see in all lights. Next up, we're going to be adding too many mini collectible items, and this is so much fun. So these are mini versions of just the things you find in all the supermarkets, so they can be like after sun, lotion, peanut butter, wet wipes, literally anything you can think of. None of these are functional, but they are like mini figurines that you can collect. So I opened about 6 baubles and just got all of the things out and added them into slime. And as a comparison, this is a big Magnum box compared to a small one. As you can see, it's a really big difference. So I didn't add any of the big ones in, and I added loads of the tiny ones in. The first thing I noticed was that when I was trying to poke it, the ones in the boxes just didn't work, so I took out all the cardboard ones and then left the rest in. The main problem with this was just that I added too many, which is the whole point of this video, so I just kind of worked around it and took little pieces off and tried to mix it in. And the great thing about this is because they're so big, when you're trying to like swirl them, they do create a lot of air bubbles, which means it has good bubble pops, but generally for poking it isn't great. Adding too much fabric softener has been one I wanted to try for a while, and this is mainly because every time I go and wash my clothes, I'm like, I wonder what this would be like in slime. So the first thing I did was add a ton of PVA Glaze that were coloured so it wouldn't just be white and then white softener, and then I went ahead and mixed it all in. And the first thing I noticed was the softener was really thin. You don't notice when you're pouring it into the machine, but it is so thin. So I was like, this is going to make a jiggly slime, especially because there was so much liquid. And I did add a lot of activator for this reason, and this was actually really handy for me because not only did it activate it very quickly, but it allowed me to see that there was a greasy layer on top. And even though I'd mixed it in, I was kind of curious to see whether this was or was not because I hadn't kneaded it. So I kneaded it in, made it into a proper slime, and it still had this really sticky residue on the outside. So this was generally quite gross. A huge slime trend at the moment is bingsu beads, and these are actually called pipe sequins, so they don't feel like beads at all. And I added loads of these into slime because they make clear slime so crunchy, and I decided to make it a rainbow slime because it's super, super cute. The main issue with this is the slime kept accepting the sequins, and because it's not beads, it didn't have the same fallout effect. When you're adding like slushy beads or fishbowl beads or even flown beads, they fall out, but with this, they just did not, and it kept accepting it. So it was really cool in that the blue beads ended up looking green, and maybe that's just because of how I dyed it, but it was super crunchy and there was never too much. I had these tapioca pearls left over from when I was meant to do another iTide ASMR video, and I just hadn't used them, so I decided that I was going to add them into a water slime. I thought it would be really fun to see if it made boba. I've never made boba before, and I've also never tried it, so I didn't know if this would work, basically. But I did notice that when I poured it in, it looked just like flown beads, so I left it overnight, and it didn't expand at all, and it also didn't melt the slime, which is really uncommon for food things. It did smell a bit funky, so I'm sure something was happening, but it was really cool, and the beads really softened. They weren't hard anymore. They were really, really soft on my hands, and this was generally such a nice slime to play with. And then last but not least, we have the giveaway, and I'm going to be giving away 20 mostly glitter glues from Elmer's. There's going to be a few colored clears in there and also a ton of magical liquids. Just as a disclaimer, this is not sponsored or endorsed by Elmer's. I just wanted to give away the supplies that I had left over from my what if, and I thought you guys would love it, especially around Christmas. There are only 3 things you have to do, and then there are a ton of extra ways you can enter and boost your chances of winning in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.